My name is Prerna Tivarkati, and today we have with us a very prominent animal welfare activist, an investigative journalist, a political commentator famous for his TV debates on Republic, News 18, and India Today. A former IT veteran, Muralidharan Ji quit his lucrative career and is now a full-time animal welfare activist. One among the activists who was responsible for the Marina protests, he is currently fighting for the betterment of private temple and wild elephants. Muralidharan Ji is here to clear the myths and explain to us about the elephants, our traditions, and to expose the foreign pundits' sabotage. Welcome to Swaraj Muralidharan Ji. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you for your time. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Prerna. I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time now. It started somewhere in 2013 when I was actually against Jallikattu, the initial stages. Then I went around, did my own research, and figured out there is some reason behind why people are doing this. Then on, I started supporting them, and that's how I shot into prominence with the Marina protest, and that's how I got introduced into the TV media. And that's how it's all started. And that whatever started at that point of time kept on going. Like when we started seeing foreign forces targeting not just Jallikattu, various other activities of Hindu Dharma, we realized that this is a bigger sabotage, and I decided to spend more time on this. And I figured out that this expose will help us, preserve, conserve our heritage, our culture, etc. So I dedicated myself to this.
Wonderful. Sir, my first question to you, why temple elephants or why elephants in general?
Okay, first question is why temple elephants? Okay, that's a fantastic question. And if we know the answers for the rest of it, like, why do we go to Tirupati and shave our head? And why do we go to Sabarimala fasting for 40 days and have a irumudi on the head, etc. These are, beliefs of Hindu Dharma, and the Sanatanis believe this, and they've been doing this for hundreds and thousands of years. So when somebody comes and asks me like why elephants in temples, we've been having them for 4,000 years. I think that's one is a good enough reason. Second is there is amount of Vedic reasons which are attached to all these, which will not be able to. I will not be able to go into it deep because it will take days. And second is who are these people who are actually asking these questions? If you see, it's not the person who actually goes to the temple, does all the puja throughout the year. He carries out all these festivals, etc., and the functions in the temple. It's the people who come as page three activists. We know who they are. For example, Sabarimala was questioned by Naushad Ahmad Khan and Tripti Desai, and I'm sure none of them have visited Sabarimala or been to any Hindu temple. So it's so unfortunate that people of this page three who follow the Western cult and Western culture who come out and start questioning our own beliefs. And instead of answering them, I think we should tell them, just mind your business and keep moving. This is what I believe in. This is my culture. This is my identity. And I would continue doing so. So if there's an elephant in the temple, it will be there because that's Lord Ganesha for us. And don't question that, If you can contribute to it, I mean, if there's cruelty or etc., it's that we have complaint. Yes, we will eradicate it. It's not our objective too. And this is a land of ahimsa, and we definitely will not treat our animals cruel. As simple as that. So don't worry about all that. As far as the elephant is there, we will celebrate the elephant and will continue. That's the answer for that.
So, sir, we have noticed, thank you for that answer, sir, but we have noticed that most of the temple elephants or even private elephants have now resorted to literally begging, for sustenance. What would you have to say about that, please?
I think it's a very highly objectionable, word, begging, because, this I know surely propagated by the Western media, Western animal activists, and some activists from India who follow these Westerners. Whatever the Westerners say, it becomes sacrosanct. They don't realize that we have been rearing elephant for 4,000 years. There are archaeological excavation which confirm that Tamils have been using elephants to work in the fields and plow in the fields. And there are, pictures from 1870 in Sri Lanka where they used elephant carts to transport people, transport goods, etc. So we have a very strong, culture, etc. But the people who come from abroad, people who have this Western mindset, these are the people who start questioning this. As I said earlier, they'll come and ask you like, you're using the elephant for begging. See, if my elephant is begging, how does an elephant beg? Elephant can't beg, unless it's been instructed. Okay. So somebody is giving you an ashirwad and taking a bakshish. Now, if you're going to term that as begging, because ashirwad and bakshish has been there for something like, thousands of years in India. And if somebody is going to, question that, that's a highly shameful thing because, if that's so, then anything which falls into the plate of the pujaris in the temples or into the hundi, that also becomes begging, right? So stop demeaning this. And unfortunately, some of the Indian courts accepted these arguments as begging, and some of them even went ahead and said, you should stop it and ban it. This is an absolute disgrace. People who think, they were just fell out of, somewhere from the sky and they started, propagating this and, conveying this, demeaning the Hindu traditions. That's what.
I apologize. I apologize for that word.
No, not. It's okay.
Next question to you, sir, would be, why do we keep the elephants in chains? Why do we use the ankush? Don't you think that is cruel?
Okay. You look at an elephant which is normally 3,000 to 6,000 kgs. This is what we normally see in India. Females could be a little lower in weight, and the male tuskers in Kerala, probably there are some of them who even 7,000 kilos, pretty huge. Now, how do you take a dog for a walk? You have a collar and a leash, because the size of the dog is probably 30 kilos. Whereas we're talking about a 3,000 to 7,000 kilo elephant. Obviously, it needs something stronger, so we use chains. Chains, these are restraining tools. These are not torture tools. Okay, what happens if an elephant goes wandering in the night? It can be a threat to anybody's life. Its life also, his or her life. So that's the reason we keep them chained, and chaining in the night is a must. And for male elephants during must, we have to chain them because they can run amok. We have seen wild elephants coming into human habitat, running away everywhere and killing people and destroying crops, etc. So it's for their safety and our safety. Somebody says, you are restraining an elephant with a chain. That's laughable because what people don't understand. In Kerala and Assam, Kerala is very prominent. They keep talking about Kerala elephants, but Kerala has only 500 domestic elephants, whereas Assam has something close to 800 elephants. And for Assami or a Keralite, they have these elephants as pets. Okay. So it's only the size which is different. A Labrador is small in size, a pet in Delhi or Bombay, whereas a Assami or a Keralite, it's a 7,000, 3,000 to 7,000 kg animal. And its size is the different. Pet is a pet. And nobody will harm them and treat their pets cruel, knowingly. Probably somebody could do out of ignorance or unknowingly, but nobody will harm their pet. Moreover, elephant is not like a Labrador. An elephant can earn you something between 1 to several lakhs in a month. So when an elephant there are elephants in Kerala which earn something like 30 lakhs a month. So 30 lakhs, and the expenses to upkeep an elephant is 1 lakh. So which idiot will ill-treat his elephant when the elephant is making 29 lakhs every month for him? These are the questions. See, these are the, lies which has been spread across saying that it's cruel, it's barbaric, Indians are like this, Indians are like that. See, if you go deep into it, you will find the Ankush, for example, if you asked me earlier, the Ankush is not a torturing tool. Ankush is in the hands of Lord Ganesha, if you see. The Ankush is again a restraining tool. We are talking about a 7,000 kg animal, which has to be commanded by a mahout who is 70 kgs in weight. So when he says, lift your leg, the elephant will take some time because of his mammoth size to lift his leg. But if you want to do it faster, all you have to do is just ask him to put that hook and just pull the elephant, and elephant will understand better. And it's not a tool they're just going to poke it and hurt the animal unless that guy is a psychopath. And there are people who abuse. There are people who abuse women, abuse children. There are, all kind of peoples in the world. I mean, there will be cruelty also. I'm not saying, there is no cruelty at all. There will be 1 or 2%, not more than that. And nobody knowingly will harm an elephant or ill-treat an elephant. Chains are a safety tool, and that's what we need to understand. And it's not cruel unless the elephant is really being harmed. In that case, we ourselves will protest. I've rescued many elephants from, cruel owners. I have rescued elephants from some temples who did not take care properly. Moreover, so instead of rescuing these elephants, I would rather go and teach them. See, what you need to understand. Let's say you have a dog at home. Even you are a bad owner, you might abuse the dog, you might beat the dog up. But I mean, after all that, there is a connect between you and that animal. The animal is not going to be happy, taken away from the house and put into a new house, altogether a new place. Because that's the kind of, attachment the animal will have with you. So even if somebody beats the animal doesn't want to get away from you. So in that kind of situation, you have to go and educate the person saying that, why are you doing this? What you're doing is wrong. The moment you correct that, everything is hunky-dory and nothing going to go wrong. But instead, a lot of people just a drop of a hat, they just go pull out the animal, dump it in some shelter and say, oh, I've saved the animal. Actually, that animal start rotting in that shelter. We have seen this across India in dog shelters, especially in dog shelters. These animal rights activists, whom I call extremists most of the time, they will go down doing this. And we have instances in India where temple elephants and private elephants have been pulled out and dumped in shelters in Mathura, a place called Wildlife SOF. And that man is going around the world and saying Indians are barbaric, Indians are cruel, they don't know how to treat the elephants. And he's begging Westerners for donations to upkeep those elephants. And he's actually shaming India abroad to make some money. That is wrong. That's where the problem is. And he says they have the audacity, he means he and the Western media and Western activists, they have the audacity to say the mahout taking 10 rupees. With 10 rupees, you can buy a cup of chai. And giving bakshis and taking bakshis and giving ashirwad is begging. So what are you doing? This is exactly what the Madras High Court termed it as glorified begging. You shame my mahout for taking 10 rupees, whereas you are taking millions of dollars from Westerners, demeaning and shaming India. So the Madras High Court blasted these foreign NGOs, and they said, this is the crookedness of you. This is how you're trying to make money, and you're doing a business out of it, and you have no love or care for the animal. So somebody says animals is like tortured, they are kept in chains, and Ankush is used, all rubbish. You can just rubbish it out. These are claims by ignorant people who do not know what's actually happening and how does these animals are taken care by the mahouts and their family where they live in. And most of them are earning money. So I don't see a reason why they should be treated cruel or they are treated cruel.
So, sir, most of these Western animal activists say that elephants are meant to be in the wild. They shouldn't be domesticated. Why are we domesticating elephants? What is your take on this, please?
Okay, that's another important question because, a lot of people think it's people who domesticate elephants. What they do not understand, yes, there was a need those days when elephants were extensively used, when we didn't have cranes and earth movers or trucks to move things. So obviously elephants were used to lift weight, etc. So there was a huge demand for elephants and timber logging. Timber logging is one specific area and where elephants were extensively used. So there was a need, so they used to capture elephants from the wild, which is it's called the Keda, or there are various methods, the Kral and the Keda, various methods of capturing elephant. And they were trained then and they were used for this kind of activities. So, which is not there anymore. So today's scenario is not that. But what you need to understand, elephants, a herd, when the mother feels the baby is sick or will not be able to take the terrain when they keep migrating, and elephants walk hundreds of kilometers. So when the mother feels the elephant baby will not be able to take that strain, she will voluntarily leave them behind. Otherwise, you will never be able to separate a calf from a herd. They will all get together and finish you off. You cannot move because there'll be multiple mothers. That's called allow mothering, right? An elephant calf will have multiple mothers. If there are 2-3 lactating females in the herd, they will all of them will protect and give them milk. The baby has the luxury of drinking milk from many of the mothers. So in this kind of scenarios, the mothers will not let go even these babies for a second. They'll not take the eyes off. But they voluntarily, they dump these calves and move on. So even if you try to reunite them, they will never get reunited because the herd will still keep pushing them out. Because they know these are divine interventions. These are things what human beings in a country like India we have done for hundreds and thousands of years. We have picked up those calves and we have reared them. We have corrected whatever the problem ailments they had, and they have grown into healthy elephants later. Even now, probably a year ago, when Forest Department was trying to reunite a baby, they don't reunite. Actually, what they do, they just go dump it in the forest and say the baby got reunited. Because any female mother will accept a small calf because they're not a threat. So when you just dump them in the wild, it will go and join any herd. But the problem, if there's not a single lactating mother, that calf will die of starvation within few days. The Forest Department will have to follow the herd and ensure that calf gets united with the mother who's lactating. It doesn't happen. It's very difficult to do it. So what forest departments they do is dump it and come up and say it got reunited. After a few weeks, they find the calf carcass somewhere. So what we did, we went to court and said there was a baby elephant called Amukutti. And he said, no, this is wrong. You have to take this baby elephant and rear her in the forest department camp. And she's now probably, she was 3 months old. Now she's around 8-9 months. And no, probably a year now. She's doing fantastically well, and she's been kept in the Udumalai camp. So these are things people do not understand. They think it's we go, bring these elephants and we keep them in custody. And we started doing this, for information, we started doing this 4,000 years ago. So nobody can say elephant is a wild animal because it's like it's like cattle. We've been evolving with them. Exactly, the Indians have been evolving with elephants too. Okay, it's only that it's not been being because it doesn't give too much of there's not too much work for the elephant anymore with all the invention of cranes, trucks, and earth movers. So they got pushed back, but we still have them being utilized in places like Kerala and in Assam and various parts of the country. So another way of we getting elephants, one is these calves which get abandoned. So obviously we take these calves and we train them up, and so once they become human and to come in custody, we need to control them. We can't just set them free, okay? Because if the baby is set free, she will hurt herself or she'll eat something, some poisonous item, and she might die. So that's the reason we need to keep them under custody. Once they're in our custody, they need to follow a set of rules because this is not the wild, this is the human habitat. Similarly, we have these rogue elephants. That's when male elephant, so this is again divine, orders, like, a male elephant, when it gets into the age of mating, must, we call it in the elephant language, they leave their herd and they go into, they leave the herd and move away to look for a mate, a female, right? The reason being to avoid inbreeding. This is something beautiful because, due to inbreeding, the offspring could become handicapped or whatever, could become ill and could become weak. So they get out of the herd and they go around looking for a female, and they have the temporal glands. There are 2 holes in the front through which they have this liquid, which is the must liquid flowing that smells for kilometers, and that's the smell the females get attracted to and come for mating. So there is no rape happening in the elephants, like even if the male wants to, unless the female agrees, there's no mating happening, mutual consent. So these are things. So these elephants, when they come out of the herd, they get, must is a period where actually they lose their senses. And their only objective in their mind is to mate. So they go, they walk into human habitats, they raid crops, because raiding crops is the easier way to find your food than, walking kilometers. So the period from raiding crops, when they start raiding crops, we call them crop raiders. Then the human animal conflict takes place. Human beings start attacking the elephant, and they in turn start attacking you. People start dying. The moment people start dying, the elephant becomes a killer elephant. That's when we call it a rogue elephant. So the period between crop and the rogue elephant is very thin, you know. So anytime they can become a rogue elephant. So once they become a rogue elephant, if it's a foreign country, they would have shot him and killed them. Kill them. In India, we don't do that. What we do is we still capture these rogue elephants, go try and leave them in a different area where they don't come back to the human habitat. One. Second, even that fails, then we have no choice but take them into our custody, keep them in the kraal, train them. Kraal is a training process which is accepted worldwide, and it's not cruelty, it is cruelty free, etc. And the courts have approved it. We use the kraal method to train them, which is a wooden enclosure where the elephant will be kept inside, cajoled by a mouth who's going to be his or her mouth in the future, and slowly that bonding is made, and for 3 months they become, after that, become inseparable. The word pagan is nothing but mouth. The Tamil word is pagan. Pagan means there are two bodies and there's only one south. So that's what it means. So they become inseparable after that. So that's how they get joined. Those values are slowly dying, you know, the Mahoutri, the art of Mahoutri, and the association with the elephants, but unfortunately. But so these are the elephants which come out into the human habitat. So they automatically become domestic elephants. So nobody can say the elephant habitat is the wild and its family is the herd. No, wherever the elephant is, whether it's a temple, zoo, circus, wherever, that's the habitat now. And whomever the human beings whom they are moving around with, that becomes their family.
Okay.
Simple.
So, sir, I have another question for you. What is happening to these elephants in Kerala? You know, even the private elephants, we keep hearing news that the elephants have consumed, the bomb in a disguised in a fruit which was meant for wild animals, and when the pregnant mother lost its life and the fetus. Could you please tell us more about what's happening in Kerala with these elephants?
Okay. I keep telling Kerala, there's only one problem. It's not elephants. We have more number of traitors in Kerala than animal lovers. For a simple reason, Kerala has only around 500 domestic elephants. With a temple, private, anything you take, all put together, it's only 500. Whereas Assam has 800 to 900 elephants. But you'll never get to hear about Assam. For a simple reason, there's no media coverage and not many traitors live in Assam.
Okay.
In Kerala specifically, we have these traitors who take money from foreign forces, foreign NGOs, and foreign funded organizations, and they spread lies. Now, when there are 500 elephants in, let's say, in Kerala, now we can take 5% of it, you know, which will die due to natural causes. There'll be at least a 5% death every year, you know, and that will be due to natural causes. So 5% of 500 is, we are talking about something like 25 elephants, right?
Right.
Okay. But not that many die in Kerala. Probably what dies in Kerala is something like 10 to 12. Okay, that's around 2.5%. So that's okay. You know, that's normal for, you know, that kind of ratio. And these people, they play it up in such a bad way that, you know, they've been ill-treated and killed, because these foreign forces, their agenda is to ensure wherever, see, they try to, what you need to understand, the bottom line is the conversion, okay, the religious conversion. They've been trying very hard for thousands of years to convert Hindus. We still have 30% are Hindus in this country. Whereas Korea, they converted almost 90%. The reason is, what they figured out, there is a deep-rooted culture in India which is holding them back. They're not able to break into that. You go into the villages, how they worship, what kind of, you know, temple festivals, the Tiruvalla, we call it, all this we have, and these are our shield around us, which is actually holding us up, you know, from easily holding them from breaching into our territory and converting us. So they decided to attack this culture. So elephants are bringing in huge footfall into the Kerala temples during these Purams. The Tiruvalla is known as Puram there, the temple festival, annual festival. So you go to some temples, they'll have 10, 15 elephants standing there. That brings a separate crowd. There is an elephant called Techikotukavu Ramachandran. It's a one-eyed elephant. He has killed almost 10 to 12 people till date. Okay. He has a fan following of almost some 1 crore people, I think, on Facebook.
Wow.
So these NGOs tried to ban him from coming into the temple. Okay, and there was a huge uproar. It went up to the assembly, and he was brought back. So you should see those videos when he comes out of the temple, lifting this idol on his back, temple idol on his back, and participating in the temple function. There's just euphoria. You know, that's what you need to understand. So if you take away this elephant, what will happen? Small kids will stop going to the temple. The reason for kids to go, and there are a lot of animal lovers, not just kids, you know, elderly people also, they all love these elephants. They want to go and see them because these majestic elephants, you don't even see them in the wild. Because today, the wild, the average age is only 40. Whereas in domestic, private, human upkeep, they are 60 plus. So, and such huge task and such beautifully maintained. They are like, it's like, you leaving a Rolls Royce cars in the jungle and keeping it at home. Obviously, at home, you will polish it and clean it and keep it shiny. So these elephants, they shine, compare with any wild elephant, even with the African elephant, you compare our Indian tuskers in Kerala, they actually shine. So these guys have a problem. They want to sabotage that. So they do all kind of, sabotaging activities. They go file false cases. They say this man is cruel, he's been beaten up, etc., etc. And they keep trying to. And if you see all these traitors, you go to their Facebook pages and see. I can name even few of them. I'm not scared of that because there's a guy called Venkatachalam who runs a Heritage Animal Task Force, and there's a guy called Rajiv Kurup, and there's a guy called Jayachandran. And these guys' Facebook pages, they have thousands of foreign followers, all white-skinned people coming and commenting and writing rubbish about India, demeaning Hindu gods, Lord Ganesha. All that nonsense happens in those pages. From that, you can figure out these guys are traitors. They're not Indians. See, if there's a cruelty in a temple or nearby, place where I see in animal, any elephant or dog, whatever, I would like to go and correct it. I will not call up New York Times and Washington Post like what Barka Dutt and Rana Ayub do and write about Modi there. Modi is ill-treating Indians, etc. So this is shaming India. This is exactly what these buggers do. There's a connect between whether it's animal rights or these green tribunals and all these environmentalists, all these anti-Modi crowd. You see, there's a pattern. You'll see a pattern emerging. All of them want to shame India abroad because India, there's no opposition today. For example, for BJP, there's no opposition here. The opposition which was there, Congress is decimated. So they're scared. They want to shame India abroad, bring in foreign forces to support it. You would have seen Justin Trudeau voicing for the farmers' protest, things like that. So this is what's happening in Kerala. And when you speak about the elephant which died in the water, Mallapuram, right in the water, this is a thing which they've been doing for many years. See, elephants get killed in many ways. There are something like 10, 12 ways an elephant dies today. Electrocuted, hit by trains, falling from heights, falling into wells, poisoned, shot, eating plastics, and stamping on broken liquor bottles, and electrocution, I told you, hit by trains. By the way, 10 different ways they die. Okay. So, one of them is that trap which they lay for wild boars. But this is not for wild boar, because wild boar, it will be with some meat or something like that. Elephants will not eat meat. So for elephant, they keep it inside a jackfruit or something. So that's actually kept for the jackfruit. I mean, for the elephant and not for the wild boar. So when the elephant's calves get trapped, and a lot of calves die like this, because they don't have this sense of smell. But adults also sometimes they fall prey because they make a mistake and they bite it and it explodes in the mouth. But unfortunate thing is that elephant which was suffering in the water for 4 days was not pulled out and treated. We were waiting for the elephant to die so that we can bury it and move on. So this is the problem with our forest department. They have no wherewithal, they have no medical expertise to treat elephants. Unfortunately, there are 30,000 elephants in India, according to their own survey. but we don't have the medical wherewithal or the facilities or the hospitals to take care of them. You go to a small, tiny nation like Thailand, which has only 3,000 elephants. They are fixing prosthetic limbs to elephants. That's how advanced their veterinary care is. But here, we don't even have an air ambulance where we can go and treat wildlife. No, we don't have. So I keep exposing this also when I write about it. It's not that I'm, though I'm right wing, I don't, go gaga over the ruling government. So if there's a flaw somewhere, I always point out and say, this you need to fix. If you don't, it's a shameful thing because we have the largest population of elephants, Asian elephants in the country, and we need to take care of that. So that's the point. So Kerala, that's the story. But Assam, there are many such incidents, multiple, double of what's happening in Kerala is happening there. It doesn't get reported. So there are not too many traitors, as I said earlier. So it doesn't come out much. So that's the reason.
So, sir, speaking of traitors, you've exposed an international sabotage with the Indians as traitors. How did you find that? And also heard that they have filed a defamation case against you. Why was it?
So there are multiple defamation cases. Now we become expert in handling defamation cases too. So the first thing what happened is I was following elephants, 3 elephants taken out of Kanchi Sankaracharya's mutt from Kanchipuram.
Okay.
And it was pulled out under the pretext of cruelty.
Okay.
Okay. Now it was sent to a camp run by private NGOs.
Mm-hmm.
Now the background of the NGOs, I mean, is that they run the most pathetic dog shelters in the country. You go to the dog shelters and look at the dogs, why is this dog alive? It should be dead by now. It's not worth living in those shelters. And these people started doing it. So we were keeping a close eye. And when they picked up the 3 elephants, they cornered the mahout. Actually, the mahout had died. Mahout's daughter was looking after the elephants, a female. Okay. And they tricked her and sent her out of the temple. And they picked up the elephants and they were trying to move away. So when they loaded the last elephant, that was Sandhya, and she was going in the truck, should have crossed some 100 meters from the temple. The lady Mahout comes back. She comes to know that the elephant has been taken away and she's been tricked. So she screams her name called Sandhya. The elephant breaks the truck, jumps out, hurts herself so badly, starts bleeding profusely, starts running back to the temple.
So that's the kind of connect that
exactly. The Mahouts have that kind of connect. That's what the animal rights fools, I call them, do not understand. Even if the Mahout beats up the elephant, they still have a strong bonding. Even if the elephant kills its own Mahout, once it comes back to senses, when they kill it, they're in a trance. When they come back to the senses, for next couple of days, they'll not even eat. They'll mourn the death of the Mahout. They miss them so much. So if the Mahout is a cruel guy, so it's okay. But if he's a nice guy and the elephant made a mistake, so that's a disaster. I mean, it's a huge tragedy, So this lady calls out, she comes back and they take her. So this is the time we got disturbed saying that there's something wrong in the whole thing. If it's cruelty, if the elephants are taking her away, and so there's somebody called God who's watching all that, and the elephants would have gone out happily. I have rescued few elephants, okay? When we brought them to the camp wherever they are today, they were happy. Today you go and see they're holding trunks of other elephants and walking around in pairs, happily trumpeting. There is some joy. And when the Mahout is not there, they start, trumpeting, saying that, where are you, where are you? Like you can make out from the sound. It's a very happy sound. And they see the Mahout after a few days. Let's say Mahout goes home for a holiday, comes back. Oh my God, you should see the happiness. They behave like puppy dogs, jumping all over. Elephants behave, elderly elephants behave. So we found there's something wrong in this, whatever they're doing. Then I started following up. So I found out that they were ill-treating the elephants. They were not upkeeping them properly. And their objective is to showcase them, just like puppy dogs. Saying, I rescued them from a cruel owner. Please give us money to, upkeep them. During Christmas, they brought in a set of people and baptized the elephants.
Baptized the elephants.
Baptized the elephants, yes. There were conversions happening. And these girls were known as Sandhya, Indu, and girl, okay. And three of them, and they were baptized. And Christmas hats were put on their head, and they were begging during Christmas and Thanksgiving. This actually, made me angry. So obviously, I am a Hindu, so I will get angry when somebody does something stupid like this. Then I tried to go and speak to the Kanchi Mutt and tell them, see, your telephones are taken away. They were taken away for 3 months for upkeep and maintenance and to be brought back. But they're not coming back, so they keep making money out of them. Mm-hmm. The Mutt refused to listen. Some admin authorities refused to listen. Then I went to court. When I went to court, I exposed them. That's the time, some of the reports, adverse reports about that camp were suppressed using one sitting MP from Delhi. Okay. And I exposed that to the court, and the court went through all that, and they saw merits in whatever my arguments. And they said, okay, we are taking these elephants back to the forest department camp. And they were brought back. So there was a huge outrage. All this, I keep telling you, the Western people, they know nothing of an elephant. They keep listening to these bullshit stories, and they keep listening to all these traitors spreading lies, showing Hindu temples, ill-treating animals, etc. So these guys go around, spread all this. So people in the Western world think we are really barbaric. They all came, and 1 lakh people came and cursed, and they got my Facebook page, blocked. That happens to all right-wing people. So my Facebook page got blocked. Then I was abused and verbally and through Facebook, etc. And later on, they got angry and upset, so they filed a few defamation cases against me, which are not maintainable. But just to for a sadistic pleasure, they want me to come to Bangalore once in a while and attend cases. So just to harass me, they did all that. But the good thing is we get to expose all of them. And it's a chain, we started with this. Then when I went deep into it, I could figure out the mules which were used in Vaishnava Devi were stopped for the same reason. The mules used to carry weights in Vaishnava Devi up the hill, right? Because there's no, vehicles going there. So any elderly or small kids going there, they will not be able to carry those weight and go. So they had mules carrying this weight. They got them banned. There are no mules. So obviously, the footfall would have become half. The elderly and the young kids will not be able to go to Vaishnava Devi anymore. This is one sabotage. Then there was an elephant ride in Jim Corbett Park, which is hundreds of years old, right? And there are foreign authors, Britishers who lived in India, colonial days. They have written books about saying that we used to wait for our summer holiday so we can go to Jim Corbett and go for elephant ride. Elephant safari or a safari on an elephant back cannot be compared with anything else, because the trucks and jeeps and vans you use, it doesn't give you that elevated look. Sitting on an elephant and looking at a jungle has a different meaning. A different, side to it altogether. So that's how, all those shikars and all those people were doing it in ancient times. And it doesn't pollute the environment. It doesn't cause unnecessary noise. So these are good things about elephant safari. And the elephants which are there, which are like probably domesticated elephants, there is value for them. See, what you need to understand, any animal loses its commercial value, will become extinct. Now, tomorrow you stop horse racing. Horses will become extinct because there's no other use for them. But the courts, including our Supreme Court, said racing a horse at such high speed is a skill. And that art should not die. So they refuse to ban horse racing. Across the world, it's not banned because it's an art. Not just that, they also allowed the associated gambling with it. That's a height, Yeah. If that's the case with horse racing, Mahoutri is 4,000 years old. It's our ancient tradition. It's an ancient art.
It's our culture, yeah.
It's our culture. How could you let it go? Circus, training animals. Circus. See, what you need to do, look at it, you need to be able to separate the cruelty part from that. Cruelty is there everywhere. Abuse is there everywhere. You walk into 10 houses next to your house, you will find somebody beating the kid or somebody beating the wife. So does that mean that we'll say don't have kids, don't get married? We never do that, right? We will say that guy should be punished or he should be, counseled, right? That's what we do. So exactly what you need to do in circus or zoo or, domestication or anything. We need to educate people and ensure that we eradicate the cruelty part of it. After that, it's all fine. But these are arts which you need to, preserve. But unfortunately, there are, idiots in India who will support, cracker ban on Diwali, who will say no colors on Holi. Okay, they say no, Trishur Puram, there should not be elephants. Okay, they'll say Mysore Dashera, there should not be elephants. There should not be elephant rides in Jaipur. Jaipur, there are 1 lakh Muslim families are dependent on elephant rides. And there is a multi-million-dollar campaign run by PETA and Wildlife SOS across the world not to go to Jaipur. Even if you go to Jaipur, don't ride elephants. The joke, Prerna, is in Indian Railways, Wildlife SOS has put advertisements inside the coaches saying that refuse to ride. Indian Railways is part of Indian tourism.
Yes.
Indian tourism industry is on putting a foot in their mouth. I wonder what kind of people running these, ministries and departments when they do not even know what they are, advertising in the railway coaches. This
That's
railway
counterproductive.
counterproductive. This stupidity. This train is going from Delhi to Jaipur, and you have, inside you have this, fixed board saying that refuse to ride, don't use elephants, they are cruel. And it's 1 lakh people's livelihood. What kind of a nonsense? Where will you see such nonsense? So democracy in this country is being taken for a ride.
Okay.
They're democratic. So we let all nonsense happen, whether farmers protest or a CAA protest, all this happens in this country because we think it's democracy. It's not democracy. This is absolute stupidity. So this is what is happening. So they want, see, this is cultural attack. Sabarimala, they want everybody to walk into culture because Naushad Ahmad Khan and Tripti Desai wants it. Who are these people? Nobody knows. Okay, they want to ban Jallikattu. And they don't even understand what Jallikattu is. Once they banned Jallikattu, all the bulls went to slaughter. So I asked the PETA guy, Manilal Walate, on a Republic TV debate, I said, where is your bloody welfare? Welfare means you're supposed to take care of the animal. You're sending them to slaughter. And you are, euphoric and you're celebrating that you have banned Jallikattu across the world and collecting millions of dollars as donations because you banned it, cruel practice. See, they're a marketing company. What they do is they go around showing that the animals are treated cruel. This is what is happening. That's what they build up a nice story. And it's actually, most of the PETA stories are rogue stories, I can tell you today. There's a refuse to ride, there is a story, okay? Now, if you see, first 10 minutes, they'll show you elephants getting beaten up and being trained. It is not even India. It's probably Thailand or Sri Lanka. Then only the last few minutes where the elephant walking and people are traveling in elephant in the rides, that is Jaipur. So they cook up these stories and people believe that and people wait for them to just, ban, go to the court and ban it. Then they get millions of dollars as donations. So these are the kind of sabotages. So this is where I could find the link, and you will be surprised that who are these people involved. You have foreign video filmmakers who are coming to India. There's a lady called Bridget Uthar Kornetsky. Okay, so she's a German born, she's settled in Sweden. She comes and makes a documentary about Jaipur elephants. Okay, where elephant sleeps. Okay, that's the name of the documentary.
Okay.
What does a German know about elephants? Where are elephants in Germany? Are there any elephants? Sweden, are there any elephants? And she makes this documentary, and the Pink City, there was a, the festival. Elephants are removed from that festival because of the stupid documentary through the court. Then there's another lady who came into the south of India, Kerala. She filmed 5 out of 500 elephants in Kerala. Probably those 5 elephants were abused. Fine. And she made such a demeaning documentary, went and propagated across the world saying that Indians are barbaric and cruel, they're torturing the elephants. I asked, what's your bloody ratio? If 5 elephants out of 500, you want to take that as a sample and say Indians are barbaric? She had the audacity to tell people across the world in all wherever she filmed and wherever she had the seminars, don't go to the temples. So that's the bottom line. So they don't want you to go. Exactly, that's what they want. And her name is Sangeeta Iyer. So I added a crypto in between. She became Sangeeta Crypto Iyer. Even in the court records, it's known as Sangeeta Crypto Iyer now.
Oh, okay. God. Wasn't she the one who actually got the President's Award?
Yeah, she got a Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. I told you there's a sitting MP in Delhi who does all the damages, not only for BJP, for India. And she was given a Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. She was given IFFI Award. She was given an Animal Welfare Officer badge, Honorary Animal Welfare Officer badge by the Animal Welfare Board of India, which is a rogue organization. Which is even now it's rogue. I don't know why we have this organization. We should shut it down. The only contribution to Indian animals and to the animal welfare is they'll issue circulars saying that you can feed dogs on the street. You keep feeding dog on the street, they'll keep multiplying. Okay. The nuisance increases. They issue circulars like that. And before Bakrid, they say, one day before Bakrid, they say, okay, slaughtering is, you should not slaughter in so and so areas.
One day before.
That's one day before. After that, they go on leave. So these are the kind of nonsense which are happening. So the Sangeeta came and makes a documentary called Gods in Shackles. See how she attacks Lord Ganesha. She doesn't say elephants, she says gods in shackles. And she went around, she did a protest outside in 2018, I think. She did a protest outside our Indian embassy in UK. Okay, I keep reporting this to the PMO. So I taken out starts and sent it to. Then recently she started attacking EIA, Environment, Impact Assessment Bill of Mr. Prakash Javadekar. And she was given Nari Shakti by one of the BJP members.
She's not even an Indian, is she? She's not even an Indian.
She's a Canadian. She's a Canadian and she was given a rogue PIO card. So I went and filed a RTI on the Canadian embassy. I said, how is she traveling in India? She was traveling on tourist visa, promoting a movie. That means she's on business trip, traveling in tourist visa. So they replied to me saying that she claimed her profession is film industry. So that declaration is wrong. So with all this, we filed a case in Kerala High Court to throw her out of the country. Now she has stopped going to Kerala. She knows that she'll get flocked. People have understood. So what she's doing, she's going to Orissa and West Bengal now.
Okay.
She's behaving as if she's saving, wild elephants. These are domestic. And you won't believe, she collects huge money. I think recently she collects $50,000. Okay. For what? She's buying torchlight for Bengal people to flash at elephants so that the elephant gets scared and run away.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, she started another project. I think she's collecting more money now. She started another project now. I don't know for whether it's torchlight or tube light. She started another one. So see, these are people. I keep telling the Ministry of External Affairs, Minister of Home Ministry, saying that this is a kind of nonsense happening. They are shaming Lord Ganesha. They're shaming heritage animal of India, and they're making money. Yeah. And they do nothing for the animals. See, half of these NGOs in India. Okay, we used to talk about the evangelical institutions, the rogue evangelical institutions, which are making money through FCRA. FCRA is nothing but legal hawala.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I call it. Okay, it's a legal hawala. Once you become an NGO, you register, you get a FCRA number, and you can't start getting money. All these animal-related NGOs are into money laundering. All of them into money laundering. After so many exposes, the Home Ministry had started plugging one by one. Okay, the latest rule in that is they said, you can't transfer money if the CEO of the company in UK or US is the same as India. So this came out because the PETA, Ingrid Newkirk, who's the founder, she is the CEO of PETA US and PETA India, and she's transferring money between organizations. That becomes fund transfer. It's no way donations. So these were brought out, and slowly we started clipping these wings. The government has started waking up and clipping these wings, but the whole lot of people are doing this sabotage. So this is how I went deep into it. I figured out all these people, the foreign names, and there's another set of people in UK. They are called India Authentic Tours, run by Teresa Bastian and two Britishers running this. And their job, what they were doing is, see, I told you this guy called Wildlife SOS Mathura. He picked up all elephants from poor people. He confiscated. He didn't buy them. Buying an elephant will cost you 50 lakhs to 1 crore. He confiscated. He's got some 30 elephants, right, in Mathura. And he's showcasing them to the wild, saying, I mean, the West, saying that we are barbaric and collecting money. He gets something like 20 crores a year. This is what he legally brings in through the FCRA, but he's got huge money parked abroad. Okay. This guy doesn't have a license. 38H is the license he should have. He doesn't have. Government has not given him. He has bribed the UP government left, right, and center, so she's running it. Now the joke is, now let's say Priyarna, you have a red ring-neck parrot in your house, or a baby monkey in your house. These are examples I give. Or a palmist on the street corner palmist, he'll have a parrot. Or a gypsy will have a baby monkey who does tricks and begs. Okay. Both of them will be imprisoned. At least for 1 week, they'll be behind bars. And it's an offense. Whereas Mr. Wildlife SOS has 30 elephants. And 6 other elephants he has killed already because of neglect and improper upkeep. You know nothing. He doesn't know what elephants are, because they used to run a dog shelter under Defense Colony flyover in Delhi. You go and see the shelter, you know how they take care of animals. So pathetic. They have started running in the elephant shelter and they have no license and nobody catches them. As I said, if you have a monkey and a parrot, you can go to prison. But if you have 30, so he's got 30 elephants and nothing happens to him. And it's unfortunate. Even today, the most shocking thing I'll tell you, okay? Now this is I'm exposing today, because the Reliance has got a license to keep elephants, and they are holding 54 elephants in Jamnagar. They are following this guy's footsteps. That's absolutely wrong, because you can't buy elephants. They are buying elephants. There is no law to buy elephants. You take 1995, 1972 it was stopped. You can't buy elephants. It can be gifted to you.
Okay.
Or it can inherit from your ancestors. But in 1995, even gifting was banned.
Okay.
So there is no way you can get an elephant into your house, okay, unless it's inherited. So they have 54 elephants today, and they've been given a license by the Ministry of Environment and Forest. That itself is illegal. You cannot give, see, these are responsibility of the state, of the country. See, well, elephant is a heritage animal, and nobody can own an elephant in India. What you get is a temporary custodian license.
Okay.
The elephant still belongs to the forest department, which is the country, which is the state. And so how could they give a license for Reliance to run a unit like this in Jamnagar? Wrong. See, the forest department is unfortunately the most corrupt in India. I'll give another example. They caught a guy with 600 pair of tusks in Hosur.
Okay.
They figured out he has killed 600 elephants. How many paper cuttings or paper news have you seen that elephant was killed and the elephant's carcass was found minus the tusk?
No.
Not many. You can't even recollect. When did you see last? You'll see once in a year. For last 10 years, probably 10 or 15 incidents you have seen. This guy has killed 600 elephants. So where are those carcasses?
It's hard to hide a carcass. How do they do that?
That's a huge carcass. Second is stings for kilometers. When a small dog dies, you know, the entire area for 100 meters, it stings. If it's an elephant, it will sting for at least 1 kilometer. You mean to say forest department doesn't smell? These elephants were killed for tusks in association with the forest department and buried. So it's happening from all sides. Not just, foreign forces, everything. So elephants are harmed. This is the point.
Sir, this looks like a very sinister plan where everybody is involved, a lot of money is involved, and then there's also that evangelical angle, and then there's also the conversion angle. Sir, would you like to tell us a little bit about what happened in Pondicherry? And in my research, I've also found out that there were the ashram in Pondicherry, the famous ashram in Pondicherry was involved along with quite a few people. Would you like to speak about that, please?
Okay. Pondicherry, there was an elephant called Lakshmi.
Lakshmi.
She belonged to a temple called Manakula Vinayagar, very old ancient temple, very popular.
Okay.
And a lot of people have grown up with her, with Lakshmi, because she's there from 1997, if I'm right.
Hmm.
She's such a lovely girl, you know. Anybody can go and touch her. You go, just start playing. She within few minutes she'll start playing with you. She'll become naughty. She'll pull your dress and all that.
Okay.
Every day evening in the puja, she'll stand among the people. People will be standing next to her, and she'll be in the middle, and she'll be like, you know, trumpeting and all that when pujas happen. This is a routine.
Hmm.
So there's a famous ashram, which is a parallel street to the temple.
Okay.
Though it's called ashram, it's actually like a tomb. It's a cemetery of somebody. So people who come to the cemetery, people come all the way from West Bengal and all that. Okay. When the kids see the elephant in the temple, standing outside the temple, they say, "Okay, Papa, Mommy, let's go there. See the elephant." The entire crowd, first they visit the temple, after that they go to the ashram. This hurts people. Then there's a French crowd. It's being a French colony. There's a French crowd. Now this is these are the people who baptized those Kanchimat elephants.
Okay.
Okay. So they have a version because they buy these lice like go begging. They're begging the elephant. The elephant is chained. There's no elephants in France, obviously.
Right.
We've seen them in movies and textbooks.
Yes.
So they bought all the lice. So they also work in hand in hand. Then, unfortunately, Ms. Kiran Bedi was transferred from Delhi BJP and she came as governor. She was also told this lies. From 2013, it's happening, ma'am. And there were people who were feeding these lies to her also. She also believed. And from 2013, PETA is trying to take her away. So PETA had made initial few complaints and she was taken away for inspection and kept in one place. They found nothing wrong with the girl. She is one of the best kept elephants in Tamil Nadu and she goes to the Mudumalai camp. There's a camp which happens every year, which was started by late Miss Jayalalitha. She loves elephants. So when people complain that, you know, elephants are not taken care in the temple, she said, every year, 2 months, these elephants will go for holiday into Mudumalai camp, the forest. And they'll get rejuvenated, treated, everything will happen and they come back. Fantastic. She was out of the world. I mean, as a administrator or as an animal lover. That's how people love her so much, you know. And this elephant used to be number one among all those elephants who goes to those camps, and she used to be ranked number one. Well kept elephant, well behaved, everything is fantastic about. So they tried all these tricks, did not work. So PETA had this grudge in their heart. Now, the moment I brought back those Kanchi elephants, that elephants are kept some 40 kilometers away from Pondicherry.
Okay.
Now, since I brought those 3 elephants, they wanted to take revenge.
Okay.
So there are a set of people who worked behind the scene, along with that sitting MP from Delhi. So this guy who wrote the complaint about during COVID, Lakshmi was taken away again by the temple, and we brought her back. That's the incident. Okay. Now to take her out of the temple, he wrote a complaint, and this guy was the elephant keeper at Marakkanam, where the Kanchimat elephants were kept.
Okay.
So it's revenge. So this guy is writing a complaint that this temple elephant Lakshmi is not kept well, so she need to be taken care, treated. So he was asked to write the complaint to the Rogue Animal Welfare Board of India.
Okay.
So immediately Animal Welfare Board of India. I have an RTI. I am asking what's his address, postal address of this guy. This guy looks like, you know, incognito, anonymous. So what's his post? They don't even have his postal address. They only have a phone number of this guy. That's my RTI reply. So this guy, based on this guy's complaint, they write to the Forest Department, Pondicherry, take her and treat her. Then the sitting MP also join in, writes a letter to Kiran Bedi and says, take the elephant and send her for treatment. Elephant was taken out and they have sent her to a place where they normally load her onto the truck to go to the Mudumalai camp for that rejuvenation. Because to load an elephant into a truck, you need a ramp. they can't climb onto the truck, no. So you need at least some a sand pit, which is like so that the vehicle can be parked next to it, and the elephant can climb and get in. The ramp is made. So they said you take her to that place. So I got immediately, it struck me that they're going to transport her out of Pondicherry. I sent a WhatsApp message to Kiran Bedi. I said, ma'am, I have a feeling they're trying to move this elephant to the same place where they had kept the Marakanam Kanchimat elephants, which is 40 kilometers away. That's a revenge, You take my elephants, I'll take your elephant once again. Yeah. So I told her, I sent her the court order saying that place is illegal, that NGO is rogue. Please ensure she doesn't go there. So madam immediately stopped. She said, I'll come back in 2 minutes. She came back and said, I instructed the forest department not to do this. So that was stopped. So entire thing fell flat from them. So they had to keep her in some place within Pondicherry and treat her. There was no treatment for next 40 days, but abuse. An elephant, what you need to understand, goes to a new place, will not sleep immediately till she gets the confidence of that place. So when she went there, first day they encountered a snake. She got scared. There were dogs. Okay. And when she got scared and there were dogs, and she decided that she's not going to sleep. So an elephant will have to lie down and sleep. Okay. So she refused to sleep lying down for next 40 days. She was so stressed. Okay. And the Mahouts got upset and they said, why are you keeping us here? Please take us back. She is suffering. And they refused to listen to her. Okay. Then we intervened. We tried through few local politicians. Nobody helped. So I became a politician. It was a Congress government there. So I approached some Congress netas who helped me to the Chief Minister's office to get her back to the table. But even now, because of the sabotage and the infiltration inside the forest department, etc., they are not using her for the puja. They're keeping her out of the temple. So we are still fighting that. It's not over yet. Meanwhile, PETA went and filed another petition in the Madras High Court saying that she should be taken out of the temple because she's being ill-treated from 2013. They gave all kind of nonsense, which we have counted. I have impleaded myself into the case. We are fighting it. They will not win the case, but I wanted to actually expose them, but we are not doing it now, but we will do it shortly. So this is what happened in Pondicherry. We got her back, but she's not going for pujas, which still hurts us, and she's one of the well-kept elephants. So that's unfortunate.
Now that we have discussed Lakshmi, another question I'd like to ask you, sir, is I have heard that you were actually one of the protesters who was responsible for the Marina Beach protest about Jallikattu, and you were initially against it. But then what actually made you change your mind in support of Jallikattu?
Okay, initially, even I didn't know the facts. So I was told, as it was portrayed, that there was a lot of cruelty. So that's the reason they wanted ban. Then, see, I did my own set of research. I used to participate in TV debates where I used to vehemently oppose Jallikattu initially. So and there was huge outrage. Whenever I came back, I used to get phone calls and Facebook, messages, threatening me and all that. I said, what's wrong with these guys? Why are they doing? Then I started studying about it. So when I started doing research, I figured out that the reason why they conduct Jallikattu is check the velour of the bull. That means they want the best bull for mating to create the next offspring. One is for high yield of milk. Second is to work in the fields, who will be a very active and aggressive bull. So these are the reasons why they had to select the best bull. So that's why they had this function informally those days. After Jallikattu, it got regularized and all that. Now it became a sport, sort of. But before that, it was not a sport. It was a scientific reasoning to find the best bull for mating with the females. That was the initial reason. After that, there's a goodness of A2 milk, desi cows and A2 milk, right? How the A2 milk is superior than A1? How is that A2 milk is ahimsa milk, and which is unlike your what do you call it, factory farmed? What all these vegans are opposing these days. Don't drink milk. The milk is for the calf. So there's a lot of lies again spread by PETA, saying that don't drink milk. Milk is for the calf. They don't understand the mother, the cow, yields something like 3 times what the calf can drink. And if the calf drinks all the milk, the calf will die of loose motions. Okay, this is the fact they don't know. So that's the reason why the calf is sometimes they put a muzzle on their face. For two reasons they put it. One is they should not,
Overfeed.
they have this nibbling, so they might even, take out sand and, some rubbish they might eat, or they'll keep suckling. So the calf. So they put a muzzle. So they said, oh, see, they don't want the calf to drink mother's milk, so they're ill-treating the calf. These are lies which PETA kept spreading using their veganism. There's a cult behavior called veganism. You need to
Very
understand.
aggressive as well.
Yeah, you need to talk about veganism because it is it's a movement which the soya lobby in the US started. They wanted to sell their soya milk and soya products like soya meat. So they started this cult saying that start hating dairy. Dairy is cruel. Milk is for the calf. You should not eat meat. They started this cult. And this cult, I can tell you, over a period, they give up milk, they give up dahi, paneer, everything they give up. Nutshell, they can eat only plants after that.
Okay.
That frustrates them. Okay. And you see these vegans on Facebook or anywhere, they very angry, drop of a hat. They start jumping on you and all that. And they vehemently go out and preach veganism. They want to convert everybody. They're more, aggressive than your evangelical, set of people. The reason is they're eating an absolute unhealthy rubbish food, which frustrates them and gives them this conscious saying that why only I suffer? Let the other also suffer. That's the kind of frustration they actually work on. So they use this veganism to demean any animal living with human beings, right? So whether it's Jallikattu protest, you'll have the Facebook warriors, so the social media warriors, will be vegans. Whether it's temple elephants, the Facebook and the social media warriors who will come and propagate, share, and do all the nonsense will be vegans. So the vegans are actually being used by these soya lobby, etc. Actually, the fact is soya lobby causes impotency. Soya is bad for cancer. Patients who have cancer, they will never touch soya. So there are so many ill effects about soya, which people know and acknowledge. But we have stupid people promoting it. So these are the people who started attacking Jallikattu. And when the ban happened, all the bulls went to slaughter because there was no use for the bull. As I said earlier, when an animal loses its commercial value, it is as good as nothing. So they all go for slaughter. There's no horse racing. All the horses will become extinct. Okay, so the moment we have earth movers, trucks, and farm equipments, the bulls became redundant. So they all went for slaughter. So Jallikattu, Rekla, Kambala are things, and the Ongole rock race, these are things which hold up these bulls and give them a life, regenerate them. And today, because of Jallikattu, so many people are rearing desi cattle. There is rejuvenation and it's a new life for them. It just happened because of Jallikattu. So when I went into all this, I figured out. Then I also figured out PETA has bought Animal Welfare Board of India. That time there's a chairman called Chinni Krishna, vice chairman. This guy was corrupt. He had a CBI case. He was into multiple organizations, swindling money, transferring money to his own organization called Blue Cross, sitting in AWBI. This man was hand in glove with PETA. They made evidences for the Supreme Court, which they printed in Animal Welfare Board of India letterhead. The same sabotage was done for Kanchi elephants. The same sabotage was done for Lakshmi elephant, elephant rides in Jaipur, mules in Vaishno Devi, Jim Corbett writes, so they used this statutory board, which is Animal Welfare Board of India, for all their rogue activities by bribing them. So the Animal Welfare Board of India will ask somebody to nominate few people to write a report. I have such a big bunch of RTI replies where they have nominated PETA and their own gang to write reports against each and every animal they want to confiscate. Now, Priyanna has an elephant at home. Tomorrow, I want to confiscate. I will go and file a case in Hyderabad, wherever you are, and say she is ill-treating the elephant. And I will make Animal Welfare Board of India respondent. So the court will think it's a statutory board, it's a government body, so we can ask for their opinion. So they'll ask Animal Welfare Board of India, is it cruel? It looks like cruelty, but we will nominate a team who will do a study and report. So they will nominate a team
Who has
PETA, who's like PETA, okay? And at the back of the court, they were all communicating via emails that this is what we should do, this is how we should sabotage. So they write the report together, the petitioner, PETA, the report writer, and AWBI, and they make a document and they publish it in AWBI letter into the court. The court will think, okay, this is a statutory government board, this has to be sacrosanct, whatever they say. So this is true. So Priyanna's elephant, take it away and put it in Hyderabad Zoo. This has happened. There's one elephant in Hyderabad Zoo picked up like this from one family, circus family, and the elephant is rotting there. So this is what they've been doing. So I figured out this. Then I exposed all those links in that. PETA, the vice chairman, everybody's name, everything. That's why they have these defamation cases again. They do not stand because, but these guys are, they're all rogues and crooks. So this, a crook, you have to call a crook, you have to call a crook a crook. You can't call him, Mahatma Gandhi or, Abdul Kalam. So these guys are exposed. So this is how I figured out. So these are links. When we went in, you won't believe, all of them who are involved, all the ladies who are involved, they were given Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. This is the pattern which emerged. There are 8 to 9 Nari Shakti Puraskar Award given only for these people. I made a report to PMO and sent it to them. This is what happened. After that, the yoga teacher from Kerala, 90-year-old, some yoga teacher from Madurai, these people started getting Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. PMO made a change. Before that, all the page 3 BMW and, Audi driver, they were the ones who were getting Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. And Canadians, even the Uttar Kornetsky from Sweden would have got it, if not for our expose. So this is what was happening. Then, all of them had multiple FCRA numbers. Now, to obtain a FCRA number, you need to bribe close to 40,000-50,000. So we also have an NGO for some animal activity, and for these cases and all, I generate money through that. Now I think twice: should I bribe 50,000 and take a license? If that 50,000, you can treat some 50 animals. 50 animals you can treat. Should you? But these people have 3 FCRA, 2 FCRA, 3 FCRA. Each of them have multiple FCRA. The owner of Blue Cross has 3 in his family. His wife has 2, he has 1. So this is the kind of nonsense which is happening. So this is what I unearthed, and I spoke about this. People in Tamil Nadu really got angry. It was not just hurting the bull and trying to attack their culture. It is a sabotage to attack the culture to make money for PETA, who's a foreign NGO, who's come from US. He has no roots here. He has no value in India. PETA as a company, their original job is to pick up stray animals from the street and kill. This is what they were doing in the US. How come they became overnight compassionate and
very big expose that they were putting all the animals to sleep.
Yeah, they come to India and try to teach you how to treat animals with compassion. That's a joke. This is a country, it's a country of ahimsa. We never treated our animal. We coexisted with them. We evolved with them. The cattle is Gau Mata because that cattle used to give us milk. It has to give us 3-time food. It used to be our kids' nutritious drink. It used to put bread in our table. So Gau is Mata because of that. It's not because she gives beef. So this is what these buggers don't understand. And they straight away equate it with beef. It's not beef. It's we coexisted. We evolved. That's what cows. Similarly, elephants. So this is what this understanding they lack, and they try to attack the culture and they try to destroy. See, PETA has no value in India. PETA should have been packed off long back. It's just because of we are a democracy, we tolerate this nonsense from foreign country. Today they were kicked out of Thailand.
Yeah.
They tried to do the nonsense there with the elephants. They were kicked out of Thailand. So we don't have the guts to do it. If they go to Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka will kick out. They are not there in any of the Middle East countries. They are not there in Pakistan. Can you beat it?
Yeah, they're not there in Pakistan.
They will have the audacity to come up, put a tweet saying that don't use leather on Raksha Bandhan. On Raksha Bandhan, don't use leather. Why don't you go to Pakistan and say don't kill Bakras on Bakrid? Do you have the guts to say that?
They will not.
This guy sitting in Delhi, Manilal Walate, their CEO. Okay. And these guys, one of the employee came out and exposed and saying that in all their parties, they have non-veg. And they preach to the others saying that, don't eat meat. So such a hypocrisy. So all these lies I brought out, people got really angry. And that's another reason why they came to the streets for Jallikattu. It's the same with Sabarimala. It's the same with all this. Vaishnav Devi, crackers, Holi, Dahi Handi, you name it. There is a sabotage behind it and there are foreign forces behind it. So this is why I became pro-Jallikattu, and I was one among the reasons for getting people to Marina. And the last minute it got hijacked by the communists and the secessionists. But till that such time, the first few days, and it's all, you won't believe the kind of people, Later on, we realized that, a friend of mine I'm meeting after many years, who used to be a colleague with me in my IT career. He says, I was sitting there, Murli. She left her family and she was sitting there, her mother, mother of two, and sitting there. And she says, I was in the protest, she says. She had gone there alone, leaving her family. So that's the kind of, force it was, Jallikattu was. So that's about Jallikattu. What else?
This has been a very eye-opening, it's not just eye-opening, it's been a big expose, because we have been seeing, I'm sure the general public has
You want to ask about the 30,000 elephants in India?
Right? Yes, I actually wanted to ask you about that. So we have 30,000 elephants, and India is basically being like a haven for it. It has a maximum number of elephants. So why temple and private elephants? That was my question to you.
Okay, as I told you, temple and private, temple has been the tradition. One is private is because, there are so many people who had elephants inherited, which were used for timber logging and all that. So the worry is like, a lot of people come. My worry today, I keep alerting, I keep screaming at the government saying that another 10 years, elephants are going to become extinct. So a lot of these forest experts and all, they come and say, no, but we have 30,000. We have 27,000 in the wild and we have 3,000 in domestic. 3,000 in domestic is confirmed. It's there. Okay. 900 in Assam and 500 in Kerala, balance spread across. But 27,000 in the wild is a big question mark. It was not a scientific way of counting. They went into the wild, they have volunteers. They say, okay, short tail, long tusk, short trunk, and one eye blind. This is a one tusk. This is how they've been calculated. This is not the way to do it. You need to use thermal detection through satellite, and you need to figure out what's the exact pinpoint, what is the number of. So whatever the forest department says, I will discount it by 20-30%. So probably 20,000 elephants are there in the wild.
Not 30 as they say.
No, not 30 as they say. So my biggest worry is the ratio of male to female is 1:20. So we're talking about only 1,000 odd male and 19,000 probably female or 20,000 female. Now, the maximum elephants which die are in poaching or in poisoning and shooting, man-animal conflict, it's male. So this ratio has dropped. It's probably 1:40 now. When it becomes 1:40, most of the females are not going to get impregnated. So your rate of multiplication is going to go down, and the rate of death is increasing at an alarming rate, which used to be 300 elephants across India in a year. From 5 years back. Today, it's around 1,500 elephants across India. Not only human elephants, human beings also dying in the conflict. Equal number of human beings, 1,500 people have died last 1 year. So this is the kind of, threat to the wild.
And you had mentioned that the male elephant does not mate with the one in the herd.
Yeah, it will not mate with the ones in the herd because of inbreeding. They'll go out and find a female. Even that female has to agree to mate.
Okay.
So out of that 1:40, how many of them are geared up to mate at that point of time? That's why I'm saying it's becoming a threat. This is what nobody will be able to answer. And they have no answer to this. Believe me, no expert has an answer for this. You need to preserve it. There's so much of encroachment. See, we managed to, a gentleman called Rajendran who managed to file a case, and he recovered 27 elephant corridors almost in the Nilgiris belt.
Okay.
Yeah, there was some thousand odd, the 27 resorts and thousand odd buildings were brought down by the Supreme Court
Okay.
to regain the elephant corridors. But similarly, we in the Coimbatore belt, we have so many elephant corridors. And some of the popular ashrams are there in those corridors, belonging to various religious, factions. So those are, I have filed a case to bring that down. We need to recover those corridors. So all this has to be brought. The government has to do it. As an activist, how much can I do? How many times can I go to court?
Yeah.
If I go to Supreme Court, I need lakhs. If I go to High Court, I need thousands. So where will we have that money? We can fight one-off cases, say one-off elephants, but not the entire, the whole community as such, the species as such. So these are the issues we have fighting. Now, another thing they come and say is like, the government is very happy saying that we have 3,000 tigers in the wild in India. It has increased from 1,500 to 3,000. There's nothing to be happy about because in the US, they have 3,000 tigers as pets. Okay.
Yeah.
So, any animal, the extinction also happens because of human. Same time, the revival also has to happen because of humans. So if you open up tomorrow saying that tigers can be kept as pets in your house in India, tiger population will be 10,000 in few years' time. It won't be 3,000. This is what we need to understand from other countries. The tiger population in China is 1 lakh because they have tiger farming for their nails and bones and
Chinese medicine.
Yeah, Chinese medicine. So they have tiger farms. So anything has a commercial value will never go extinct. You have something called the trophy hunting in Africa. They rear elephants and lions for you to go and hunt and shoot. You pay $100,000, $200,000 for that, the exotic hunting. But that money is used for conservation. With that money, they'll be able to save 1,000 other elephants and lions. So that's called trophy hunting. Similarly, when you open up elephants, saying that you can have them as pets in your house, I don't know why this government is holding up, because there's a lot of nonsense happening in private elephants. See, private elephants, if you want to upkeep an elephant, you need 1 lakh per month. Okay, so that guy has to earn at least 1,10,000 to keep that elephant proper. He has to fill his stomach, keep the elephant well. He needs 1,10,000 minimum. Today, the forest department has put so many rules because of these animal rights extremist idiots who are influencing them, sitting in Delhi, various parts abroad, etc. You can't take your elephants more than 2 times in a month. Every 15 days, you need to take a permission to take your elephant out. The elephant earns by going to functions like wedding, okay, for ear piercing ceremonies, okay, and aging ceremonies. They go for all these functions. They get 10 to 15,000. It's a wealthy house. They might even get 50,000. So this is how the elephant earns for the owner. So elephant is going to earn 10,000 every trip. It has to go out 10 times. Only then he'll be able to earn that 1 lakh. Right? Now, if you're going to give permission only once in 15 days, he can go out only twice. He can earn only 10 to 30,000 only. So what will he do for the balance? He will have to bribe the forest department guy and take the elephant without their knowledge, without the permit. Then what happens? If there is cruelty to the elephant, the forest department cannot question because he's on the take. This is what is happening. This is how we are destroying our elephants. Apart from that, we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which governs how you should keep elephants. We have Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. This tells you what and all cruelty to animals. Then you have Captive Elephant Management and Maintenance Rules 2011. Okay, already 3 sets of rules you need to follow if you have an elephant at home. Then the forest department, when they get up from the left side of the bed, they put an order saying that don't do this. Then they get up from the right side, they say don't do this. They have orders. Then there's animal rights fools and extremists who've gone to court and got orders. Don't use ankush, don't use chain, all kind of nonsense. So all these have destroyed private elephants. What they didn't understand is they're not only harming the owner, they are also destroying the animal. Because elephant is not like a dog which lives for 10 years. Elephants live for 50 years, 60 years. So what happens to these elephants? They can confiscate them, keep them in Wildlife SOS Mathura and beg Westerners. It's a business avenue. This is what they try to do with Kanchimat elephants, which I shut it down. But they have 2 more elephants in Karnataka. Similar way they keep it. So these are like, it becomes like you go deep into it, you will see a mafia emerging out of this, which is actually destroying elephants, which is sad and it should not happen. That's what we are fighting for. And we will succeed because our arguments are logical and we know what's happening. So we will succeed, but it will take some time because we need money. So we need to generate money, fight these cases. It's a process. So that's how I've been winning. At the end of the day, we have a special affection towards Ganesha, Lord Ganesha. So we will fight. We will fight. We will not give up.
More power to you, sir, and our best wishes.
Thank you.
Before I end this, sir, I just wanted to know what is your message for the people who are watching our interview? Just
very simple. Don't go by what you see on Facebook, Twitter, and things like that. These are videos made with an intent. Most of these videos are propaganda videos. Don't look at them. Do your research. Do a bit of reading. Understand the animal. I'm sure most of you know about Labrador dogs at home. But you know so much about the elephant, you don't. That's where the problem is. So it gives me an opportunity to come and lie to you, give you some bullshit and say you are teaching the animal pro. They're able to convert. See, this is not just for elephants. This is true for people who are getting converted into other religions. Because you do not know about Sanatana Dharma, you're getting converted. Because your shield is being breached. Because you don't know what's your worshipping method, what it is. How many of you are, sincerely tell me, how many of you are going to the temple every day, every week or every month?
yes.
People don't, because we take it for granted, because we don't have a timetable that every Sunday and every Friday you need to go to the temple. We don't have a timetable. So we take things for granted. Only when we start losing them, we start feeling for it. That's when your inner self wakes up. So I am telling you, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware. See, the biggest problem in this country is the corporate sector. These guys, I'm not saying bad about them. They are the guys who get us the GDP and growth, etc. But they get stuck into a cycle. They are inside the cycle. They go to office, come back. Go to office, come back. One day, probably they have off or 2 days off in a week. They sleep it off. When there's an election, they go on a picnic because that invariably falls on a Monday or on a Friday. They go on a picnic. They do not, they do not belong to the country anymore. They become like that. They become robos. That's the reason why at the end of the day, they will have to go to Sri Ravi Shankar and Sadhguru. They need their guidance to find peace and find, a meaning for their life. This is why Sri Ravi Shankar and Sadhgurus become so relevant in the corporate life, because they get lost in the corporate life. And if you see their preachings also, they tell you the same thing, saying that, study yourself, understand, be aware of your environment. This is what they also telling them. But they lose that track. And this is why they get sold on to these lies so fast. Somebody comes and says, I'm rescuing this elephant from a temple, please give me money. The corporate guy doesn't even have the time to look into it. He has the money, so he gives the money. Let's go rescue. But if you really understand, they're sabotaging your culture and your tradition. So you got to be aware. The simple message is, don't believe. Earlier they used to say, like, unless you see it, hear it, and feel it, don't believe. I'm saying, if you see it, you listen to it, also don't believe. Do your own research, do a bit of study, speak to the people who are, for example, like us, acquire more knowledge, then you make your decision. That's it.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. And this was a very big interview. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you back with us again. And good luck with all your.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.